Hi, this is a small demo of a new project I'm doing. The idea is to use this to teach people that don't know how to code to build web apps, initially websites and then eventually web apps. The idea is to avoid having to teach syntax at the beginning. I already gave created content for a course that was given 3 times, and the introduction always has to explain the syntax of HTML and then of CSS and then of JavaScript. So it takes a lot to get into the action of actually building something. And with this we are going to try the same course again, but without starting building stuff and then later having to see how it's actually done on HTML. So that is, I have a block editor using Blockly, the open source library by Google. And I have blocks, but these blocks usually are used for logic. In this case they are for HTML. And the basic ones, you can just drag one and it will show you the page that you're building on the right. The text is in Spanish because this course is given in Argentina, but it's easy to translate. And we have what I call simple HTML, which is a really like abstract and semantic blocks for HTML tags. They are really far away from the syntax, and the idea is to start from the concepts that you have text, that you can have text with different styles, that you can have a link, that you can have an image, that you can put stuff in containers, and what else, that you can have titles, that can have inside text and more text. And as you drag and drop the blocks, you see the result on the right. Let's see what else we have. Well, we also have templates, which is if you want to have a paragraph with some text, you can just drag that. I will of course keep adding. Also we have lists. You can say if it's numbered or not numbered. I will take the template. And we already used others. And this will be used to introduce the basic concepts of the HTML, which is basically you have different ways of specifying content that can nest. Some can go inside others, but others don't. And the result is a website, and you can click the HTML tab and see the generated HTML. And this is rendered inside the Monaco text editor, the one that is Visual Studio Code. So it's a pretty advanced text editor that then later they will use when they install Visual Studio Code. So it won't be any difference. But then we go over and we can move to more high-level concepts, which we use the Bootstrap library for CSS for styling. But the problem with HTML is that it's not easy to create abstractions. So if I want to put an alert with some text, let's put this here. Here is just a block where I just choose what kind of block it is, but the HTML is like really low level. And the idea that is to introduce the concepts in the sense of what they do. We can have a badge with some text. Oops, well, now we have the badge with all the text, and the badge can be like success, and you can also have buttons. I have to fix what can go inside what. So now I have a button here, and I can see what's the generated HTML. For now I'm working on the main ones. Here I have templates again for what's called a card, with an image card image that can be at the top or at the bottom. So if I put bottom here and I move this to the top, like it will fit on the borders. And you can have a title, and I can move all of this inside the card, and later they can explore what's the HTML for that. But the idea is to start with the concepts of like basically you have different things that can nest or not, and that they are used to build a a website, and you can see the website, and it's with the tools that we are going to teach later. It's HTML, it's CSS, it's Bootstrap, and it's the Monaco editor from Visual Studio Code. And the idea later is to create this, with this I call like the simple HTML. That is to have a second level of the HTML where I start changing the names. Instead of putting here paragraph, I will put P, and if instead of having embedded like semantic attributes like here, link to this with this text, we will have attributes. So the next level will be to redo the things from the first level, but with the blocks that are more close to HTML than to like the abstract concept. Of course, this is not useful to quickly create something, but it's a way to go one step closer to HTML without still teaching the syntax. And in the middle, asking like relationships with tag, does this one relates to, which block does it relate to this HTML, or the other way around, write the HTML that this block would generate. And also saying, giving a page and asking the student to build with the blocks that will render that page, or give an initial page and ask them to do changes to complete the page and have something else. And then later, after they already know how to think and how to envision a website and build it with the concepts, then teach HTML syntax. But every once in a while we'll have exercises of what code does this generate, or maybe multiple choice. Given this code, which of these three is the code that it will generate, and stuff like that. And doing these levels of blocks from a really abstract one to one that's really basically there's only one block, that it's an HTML tag, and you write the name of the tag, you put the attributes, and then you put the childs, and then after that teach the syntax. Maybe before teaching the syntax, giving exercises of doing changes in the HTML that already is there. So the idea of this is to use it as a teaching device to be able to introduce people to HTML, and later CSS. I will have blocks for CSS too, and there will be a CSS tab here. And later JavaScript, there are already blocks in Blockly for JavaScript, so that won't be an issue. So this is what I'm doing, and this is all open source. It's here, Mariano Guerra, Bloques Web, because it's meant for Spanish students, but it's really easy to translate. Bye.